Hello and welcome to Factories of the Future. This is my video essay series where I forecast the future of manufacturing on other planets. To do this, I'll be looking at factory games, mainly Satisfactory, Dyson Sphere Program, and Factorio. Factorio and Satisfactory are very similar in a one-world-based factory entirely on a new planet where you start by yourself, and Dyson Sphere Program has a much broader scale and it focuses on interplanetary interactions to achieve your factory and manufacturing goals. Some of the assumptions I'm going to be using for this forecasting are the fact that the ability to space travel in both directions with a single ship has already been done and dusted and easy to do, and the ability to survive on other planets is now trivial. And now the focus is shifting from exploring to using these resources on those other planets. We're not going to be looking at the theoretical geopolitics or business arguments of who owns what and how you can claim what in space. We're just going to be looking at some of the game mechanics that are brought up in these factory games and the manufacturing that they bring. We're going to specifically be looking at on-planet with gravity manufacturing. So this doesn't include some of the research done in the International Space Station about manufacturing in zero gravity, orbital production, but just on-planet production. The first main element of this will be taken from Dyson Sphere Program. Here's a screenshot of Dyson Sphere Program on a outpost planet. And if you look at the arrows on the left, you can see that there is a titanium vein, and there is then the middle arrow is smelting, and then further to the right there's some storage, and then in this big box is a planetary logistics tower, and that is how the resources are sent between planets and worlds. This is actually an interstellar tower, meaning that those ships on the top can be sent between planets and systems. So imagine that something like the SpaceX rocket that is reusable could be used to achieve a similar goal here. But obviously at the moment the SpaceX rocket, the bottom base bit, actually lands back on Earth and doesn't travel the whole way. Only the top part of the spaceship does currently, but it is reusable, which is a step in the right direction and can carry a decent payload. The next main mechanic we're going to be looking at comes from Satisfactory and Factorio. The belts and processing machines, constructors, smelters in these games are much more developed, as they are not as early access as Dyson Sphere Program, and Factorio is actually launched now. These elements are only on one planet, but you can take part of these elements to slot into the interplanetary system coming from Dyson Sphere Program. So another element that's going to be focused on, taken from Satisfactory, is the fact like this is the hub here, which you start with a prefab of when you go to a planet, and the workstation on the right is kind of where you can craft. And so these are kind of some of the examples of the things that you'd need to bring to a planet to set up this manufacturing outpost in the future. So mining is obviously crucial to actually make this work. In Factorio, you start simple and then you build your way up to large electronic mining grids that you can see are then also smelted on site on the right. And I'll be combining that with current prototypes for interstellar mining, which are mainly looking at asteroids at the moment to theorize how that could be working. I will also be looking at some research literature about other people's thoughts about space mining and manufacturing, and some of the theories and ways of thinking that Stuart Brand uses with the no political sides, and also his just overall thinking as the space is the next frontier and main goal of humanity. Thank you for listening, and I'll be back with more detail on each of these steps and how I think they'll actually be able to play out, and I'll forecast what they look like.